A week ago marked 4 years since the terrible port explosion that wrecked whole sections of Beirut and injured some 6,000 people, killing another 200. This is the sound of Israeli fighter jets over Beirut this week as the Lebanese wait for a potential escalation of the long-simmering skirmishes across the country's southern border between Hezbollah and Israel. What might such an escalation look like? Can it be avoided? Joining me now is Mها Yahya, director of the Carnegie Middle East Center from Beirut. Welcome, Mها. Tell me, the last time around, when Iran and Israel went through this process, it was all fairly well choreographed. While the Iranians did do a big attack, they essentially alerted Israel and the United States so that the missiles could be intercepted. Is it your sense in Lebanon that they expect something similar, a kind of almost choreographed escalation so that it doesn't get out of control? Or is there fear of an all-out war?
Good morning, Farry. Thank you for having me. I think there is a genuine fear of an all-out war in the sense that things can get out of hand very quickly. There is the expectation that there will not be a repetition of April 13 in the sense that, Iran telegraphed its intentions 72 hours earlier, and we saw the kind of flight show in the sense of, sending out drones 7 hours ahead, etc. So that this time there would be a coordinated attack. It would be an attack against a military target. They will, I suspect, avoid civilian infrastructure or civilian areas, but would focus on a military target. But that it would be a surprise. And in this time round, the attack would be, the intention would be to cause pain, to retaliate in a way that leaves an impression and does what April 13 could not do, which is, from an Iranian perspective, restore deterrence. They thought that the April 13 attack and the kind of tit for tat that we saw had ended that episode there, and therefore there wasn't going to be an escalation anymore. Now they realize that what they thought had been a deterrence was not a deterrence, and that the Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu is willing to up the ante even further. So I think they're hoping that with this attack, they'd be able to restore some sort of a deterrence. This does not mean, by the way, that attack is going to happen. Sorry.
Is Lebanon, are people in Lebanon worried that this tussle between Israel and Hezbollah is going to result in massive destruction of the country itself, which is in any case in an economic crisis?
They're terrified, in all honesty. I mean, across the country, people are terrified of another conflict. Nothing will happen without Hezbollah when it comes to the decision regarding war. At the same time, Iran is coordinating very closely with Hezbollah. If Hezbollah were to retaliate and attack Israel in a more systematic manner, respond in a more systematic manner than what it has done so far, this would not happen without an Iranian green light. So there is very tight coordination across both capitals. My sense, honestly, is that with this new effort, this new call by the Qatari, Egyptian, and United States governments to resume discussions around the prospect of some sort of cessation of hostilities in Gaza with the very needed release of hostages, with some Palestinian prisoners, that this may bring about the very desperately needed de-escalation in the region. This would allow the Israelis to say, we've brought home the hostages. This is an increasing demand, and it's absolutely shameful that 10 months after this started, there are still so many hostages still in captivity. At the same time, it allows the Iranians to say, okay, the blood of Ismail Haniyeh did not go in vain. We managed to secure a cessation of hostilities, and it would appease Hezbollah at the same time. So it would stave off this kind of back and forth, an escalation that even if the intention is to keep it limited, could very easily, the slightest accident could really derail it into a much larger confrontation that would drag everybody else in and would really become regional. It will not remain limited to Lebanon and to Israel.
Fascinating. A complicated situation. Thank you, Maha Yahya, for joining us.